Tien's father reacts when he finds out his daughter is pregnant. After Tien announced the good news to Jack, she decided to go home to tell her father. She was a little nervous. I wonder how Dad will react. When she found out she was going to be a mother, that day the afternoon was cool. Tien and the driver went home to visit their father. As soon as she entered her father's yard, the village chief was sitting on the porch, gentle eyes looking into the distance. Seeing his daughter come home, he stood up happily. Tien, you're back. How are you, Jack? Long time no see. Probably politely greeted him while Tien ran to hug her father. Dad, I have something important to tell you. He looked at his daughter in surprise and saw her hesitate. He immediately encouraged. What are you so stressed about? Tell me. I'm listening. Tien took a deep breath and gently placed her hand on her stomach. Dad, I'm pregnant. At that moment, he was stunned. His eyes widened as if he couldn't believe his ears. He looked at Jack, then looked down at his daughter's belly. Jack immediately stepped forward, his voice full of sincerity. Father and son and the immortal are about to have a complete family. I promise to take care of you both. A good child will not let them suffer any disadvantage. Father Tien remained silent, his face showing clear emotion. He spent years away from his daughter. Now see she is going to be a mother. He felt time passed quickly. A moment later, he gently placed his hand on Tien's shoulder. His voice was trembling but full of warmth. My daughter, you finally found happiness. Tien was moved and hugged her father. Her tears fell down because of happiness. He patted his son on the shoulder, then looked at Jack with eyes full of trust. Jack, from now on I give my daughter and my granddaughter to you. Promise me that you will always protect them. Jack nodded firmly. Dad, don't worry, I promise. He laughed, his voice less tense. Then what are you waiting for? Come in. Dad will cook a delicious meal to celebrate this. All three of them laughed in complete joy. From that moment, Tien knows that she has more than just Jack, but also has a father who always loves and supports her. Their little family is about to welcome a little angel. Bring joy and happiness to all. Waiting for little angel. After the fairy's father learned that his daughter was pregnant, he was overjoyed. The following days, he kept calling Han to ask about her condition. Also give instructions on how to take care of his wife. Happy pregnancy days. Tien enters the pregnancy stage with changes in the body, but in return, she received love and care from everyone. Jack is always by her side, taking care of her from meals to sleep. He also researched many books on maternity, even signed up for a class for future dads. One evening when Jack was reading a book about newborn care, Tien laughed teasingly. You are so serious. What if my child is born naughty? Jack turned to his wife confidently. It's okay, I'm mentally prepared. Whether boy or girl, I will also love and care for you with all my heart. Tien leaned her head on Jack's shoulder. Feel the warm heart of husband. She knows that. She chose the right person to build a family with. Prepare the room for the baby. Closer to birth date, Jack was more and more eager to prepare everything for his child. I designed the children's room myself with 2 colors, blue and white, decorated with teddy bears and moon-shaped night lights. Jack's mother, Mrs. Loy, is also very excited. She constantly buys clothes and blankets for her grandchildren. One day, when Mrs. Loy gave Jack a tiny silver bracelet, she said with a smile, "This is my childhood memory bracelet. Now I keep it for my grandchildren." Jack was moved to receive it. I know that the family is coming together in the most wonderful way. Labor pain. One night when Jack was working in the room, suddenly heard TU Tien calling, "Jack, I'm in pain." Jack immediately ran in and saw his wife holding her stomach and grimacing. He panicked but tried to stay calm. "Breathe easy, I will take you to hospital now." He quickly helped the ferry to the car. "Drive at top speed, but still be careful to ensure safety for wife." Went to hospital. The doctors immediately took the baby to the delivery room. Jack stood outside, his heart burning. His mother and TU Tien's father also rushed over, equally worried. Time passes. Every second, every minute. Jack clasped his hands and prayed for the safety of both his wife and child. Sacred moment. And finally, the baby's first cry was heard. Jack almost burst into tears with emotion. The doctor came out and smiled to congratulate him. His wife gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Probably breathed a sigh of relief and ran into the room. TU Tien is lying on the bed. Her face is still tired, but eyes full of happiness. In her arms was a small creature, red and sleeping soundly. Jack walked over and sat down gently next to his wife. Trembling touched my hand. "This feeling is amazing." "Hello, my little angel." TU Tien looked at Jack and smiled softly. "What do you want to name your baby?" Jack looked at his son for a long time and then smiled. "Jack Liao. This name will carry the power of wisdom and love." The fairy's father and Jack's mother also entered, looking at grandson with tears in his eyes. Mrs. Loy said gently, "Her nephew. You will be the pride of the whole family in the future." The immortal's father also nodded and patted his son-in-law's shoulder. "Jack's son did very well. Thank you for bringing happiness to my daughter." Jack held his wife's hand tightly, his eyes filled with love. "It's just the beginning. I will always be with you and the baby forever." TU Tien smiled happily, knowing that she was have the most complete family in the world. Happy days was sung. After being discharged from the hospital, Jack and TU Tien took their son home. The cozy home is now filled with laughter and happiness. Jack's mother and TU Tien's father also visited often, helped the couple take care of baby Hao. Jack gradually learned how to change diapers, mix formula, and lull his baby to sleep. The first nights, he stayed up all night by the crib to comfort his son. Every time the baby cries, he picks it up and gently comforts it. "How don't cry, BA is here. Look at sleep, clumsy but full of love." TU Tien smiled happily. Baby's first moments. When baby Hao was 3 months old, the boy began to babble and smile at his parents. One morning when Jack just came home from work, he looked down at his son and suddenly heard. Jack stood still and then his eyes lit up. "TU Tien, can you hear me? I call you Dad." TU Tien laughed and nodded. "Congratulations. Hal seems to like his father very much. Jack picked up his son and kissed him lightly on the forehead. "I will always be with you to protect you forever." Happy family life. Jack's business is growing. Your company expands its market abroad. Although busy, he still spends a lot of time with his family. TU Tien also supports her husband in his work, but most of her time she spent taking care of baby Hal. One day when the whole family was gathered around the dining table, Jack's mother looked at her son and daughter-in-law and said softly, "Jack TU Tien mother is really happy. When I see two children have a complete family, mother believes that later, little Hal will become a good and strong person, like his parents." TU Tien's father also nodded. "Seeing the children happy makes me feel at ease. The most important thing in this life is still family." Jack took his wife's hand and said softly, "We have been through so much, but finally found happiness. Now the most important thing is to cherish every moment together." TU Tien leaned her head on her husband's shoulder and smiled contentedly. Their life now. No more stormy days, but peaceful days filled with love. And the journey of happiness continues. Full of happiness. The day is passed in peace. Jack and TU Tien's little family is getting happier and happier. Little Hal grew up in the love of his parents, grandparents, and loved ones. Jack a model husband and father. Despite busy work, but Jack always spends time with his wife and children. Every morning before going to work, he kissed TU Tien on the forehead and bowed to greet home. Dad go to work, son stay home, be good to mom. Every night when he comes home, he spends time playing with his children. Tell stories to your baby and lull him to sleep. For him, family is the most important thing. TU Tien watches her husband take care of the child, but filled with happiness. She knew for sure he was not just a successful man, but also a husband, a wonderful father. Baby Hal is the joy of the whole family. The older Hal gets, the more he looks like Jack, from deep eyes to bright smile. The boy is very smart and always close to his parents. One time when Jack was working at home, little Hal mumbled and climbed onto his father's lap, raised both hands around Jack's neck and whispered, "Dad loves Dad the most." Shirley moved, hugged his child and said gently, "Dad also loves you the most in the world." Looking at that scene, I smiled slightly, and the heart surged boundless happiness. TU Tien, a gentle and strong wife. From a girl who has experienced many losses, now TU Tien has found a peaceful place to rest. She no longer has to worry or be lonely, because beside her, there is always a husband who loves her very much. Jack always respects his wife, often give her small surprises. Sometimes a bouquet of flowers, sometimes a dinner prepared by him. Every day together is a day full of love. One evening when little Hal was asleep, Jack hugged TU Tien and said softly, "Do you know, I feel like the luckiest man. When you and the baby are with me." TU Tien leaned gently on her husband's shoulder and whispered, "Me too, let's be together forever." Firmly clasped his wife's hand and gently kissed her forehead. "I promise." Happy ending. Life goes on happily. Jack and the fairy's little family grew closer and closer. love each other more. Little Hal grew up under the protection of his parents, become a lovely smart boy. Although there are many challenges ahead, but they believe that as long as they have each other, nothing is impossible. And so, their story ends in a happy ending. A perfect love, a happy family, and a bright future. Morning is waiting ahead,